we'll come back to start the agenda, and we'll continue with the health and human. So the floor is back to Pat.
Pat was calling me. That guy's Vince was calling me.
Education contact persons.
You see the black dog. You know about the black dog?
Speaker.
There's a movie called Black Dog.
In education beside you, the only thing that policy change hit you on their handbook out to apply for higher education. Deadline, they extended it to June. It used to be March 1st, hopefully, for next year's higher education. And like they hand them out. They Top Peak for next year's scholarships. And Top Peak, that's account dollars and they go bala. They go straight to the student. And was on guaranteed, so and in the past when they groundbreaking for higher ed and travel grant money out to the students. And Bawalu to Kotla is Bala Kusu to the
it's pretty easy, right?
CPs, they just didn't have no money in their account. Next issue we have na Head Start Kulashta na Pat Kogaru. He was kind of nominated for board. Get out. He just that was part of that. The once health and human activity. You're not Duke Soda, the denominator change Soda. Anyway, you're on the books over somewhere. You could and as far you pro language grant. Today got to get that money, so we gotta look into that. They're trying to every month they're supposed to meet with schools. They have to do some. They have to go to schools and they have to do some presentations. Even in each district, still have the presenters all English this side because in the grant tradition, I don't know. That was one of the main concerns that were kind of we talked about at this meeting when we were doing the higher education application process. So simple without too much. Those are the issues that right now that they're kind of dealing with over there. Other than that, they're still kind of lacking funds to help out each student, to go to school. And there's still a lot of issues that we need to work out in the education part. So, Nico Cage.
All right, I hope Junior, no. In the meantime, follow-up meetings by Rajik, we got IHS issues that are big IHS issues, social service issues, and not enrollment. We're still plugging along on the ordinance and goal. It's hopefully we can keep having these follow-up meetings every week. Every usually health and human every Thursday is my meeting. So
Health and human.
Senator
Distribution rights tomorrow.
They're here.
I get back.
My name is Mr. Speaker, Vice members of the body. Education Head Start with their compliance issues. So during that time, juniors maybe we can write a letter maybe during committee, education committee, something like that. Maybe they can kind of update us on what's going on. clients that show we couldn't help you, how far we are. I know we still need a building and couldn't,
Installation, you know,
I'll let you study.
gotta check it out.
During executive reports, usually
They kind of
I get cabinet has reports on education, that's something we can bring up during
but it's
executive reports on where you're supposed to be,
there
so
was a colony of rats up there.
actually go executive reports.
Yes. But thinking, there's another issue in House of Human in North Carolina, the veterans. Maybe they, you know, have an update on that too, so.
Garage.
Or-
Be on Veterans Affairs, I got,
As a
yeah,
farmer.
but Eric Bush runs
I'm
on
supposed to get low, tie a couple knots.
Veterans Affairs Committee also, Yagan, what do they call themselves? The Wolfpack.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Secretary, members of the body. Did I get, May 8th, it's a groundbreaking, deal for that veterans, Grish. Just, it's going forward and you also, I think we did something real good for the veterans. There's Elon, committee, he pushed forward quick by, I think it's a real good thing. Counseling, he's away, but it is, so I think that's a big step. And maybe, I think, I'll emphasize it, here's it, legal James, yeah, there's a set for that home and then cemetery, language, the application guy gave. But we straighten that out. And Gunga just, they're gonna start going on the cemetery, for veterans, and they're gonna, Balai to Gucci real quick. So we'll probably move on that pretty soon, so we'll go sell, Ichiwa, veterans, all at least, I guess, cemetery,
I don't know if
well, like, besides it, like, she, body,
was actually interested in these types of issues.
Color. Gosh, I mean, every Thursdays, man, I was helping human and try to have me at one every Thursdays.
Okay, thank you. We'll recognize Secretary Wilbur on the Judicial Committee Chair.
Big news in judicial is
Testing.
ICWA, remember the
Thank you, Speaker, members of the body. No judicial side, maybe an election. There were two issues, so, and the first one, Ganesh, it's, right now it's in, committee, it's absentee ballot, and then, Center Lodge, Cornell, so maybe you can, do a little report, Konal. And, this other, election, like, it's coming up, na canoe, didn't realize what to do,
ordinance.
Is that your monitor?
so couldn't, maybe you can speak on that too.
And I did a big, absentee ballot, there's, we haven't even talked to AJ about it. We haven't had a committee meeting there, so, the last was, when we like to schedule a meeting with AJ and then Alpha Shadeh, we want to get
This is
together,
the free version.
schedule it and, also, maybe district
About the commercials.
district legislative elections, he try out by EMI they work something towards that goal.
How much will it
And
cost for us?
Paul, you got anything?
Just make them yourself. Oh,
So, students, I think we need to.
It's 15 hours.
Maybe talk with AJ, and we hadn't had the time to talk to him, to speak to AJ about that absentee ballot yet, so we'd like to move on that, I get like, our wishes.
Speaker, on that, Bill, about, this,
I'm viewing.
anyways,
Yeah, we, developed, JAR, or a bill to amend the election ordinance in regards to district transfers of, voters. I think that will be coming up here in the next few days within the session, and, we had a committee recommendation for approval, but that will be brought forth during, during the session when the new bills come in. Okay,
Yeah, let's see, not judicial side, Jeff. One of the things that we brought about was the child support travel program.
Is it meant to be like
And again, that's in the hands of the executive legal professional to you.
incorporated?
And, we can, presenters, Kaja Malam, Dula, they kinda went through everything with us. Next day, they met with the chairman.
So you just
So it's kinda in their, executive kogulado, lagat on that part. But going there, the courts, dual. They had several issues that they wanted to iron out through the court system. And that was one of the main ones, child support, Daija. They need some policies, so we brought about that, child support program to have them look at it.
Little 30 seconds.
And they're kind of in agreement. But going on top of that,
That's the whole point.
Akhbalik Jalul, the Bighorn Police Chief,
Pay to get rid of the commercials.
Big Hair Gunhook, they're going, they're kind of hashing out some ideas on, maybe cross deputize, Chief, going on. We kind of hit a brick wall on that. It was just a thought that they needed help on the, some more, police because of how, spread out this reservation is. We met on that twice. They're going to get Homeland Security, they wanna get some laws implemented. And some agent knew, so, issues could have, especially judicial. And, now one of the main issues is not probate. With that, and we have to bring that out. And Senator Vernon, reaches on a probate, that was an issue at the beginning, never really touched on that one, so, I look at it.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary, Chairman. Judicial, Baula has a new, Diabla, what's what hoist. Probate, Kuka Zuda, Kuka Airku, probate, and Kobe, Scofa, what am I, matchup books. And did we ever turn that in, my?
Zones for
And
that.
yes, it was turned in and it was rejected. So like you guys are gonna have to work out a new one. It's not legal change. But probate we need to get something going. It sounds like they rejected that one that they submitted a long time ago. So maybe we need to bring it into light and bring it into committee so we can move on that. And my alright, we'll go ahead and work on that. See if we can get something in here, you see. And so, we probably can do that.
floor recognizes Conrad's third.
We just need.
On that, thank you, Mr. Chairman, speakers, secretary, members, on that issue there, when they brought that information out to us, it wasn't that they brought it to us, we asked about it, and so my reaction was, how come they didn't tell us about it? And then if you look at the probate law that was established, it doesn't say anything about if they have any problems that it's gonna come back, kinda like the CCRO bill, where once they make a final submission of it, then if there's any, changes that need to be made, they can come back for amendment. And so right now, we have a law that's been established that has been rejected, and yet we have no recourse to keep that law alive and well, so basically it falls dead on its face. But had we known and we seen what needed to be changed, we could possibly do cut and paste with what we have in that probate law, and then make changes on their suggestion upon what needed to be changed and why it was rejected, and there was no reasoning for that. So we don't know why they rejected it, and when it was rejected, and why wasn't the legislative branch told? So now we're running, forward without a probate code. So this is something that I think that we need to address, and I think it's a violation of the trust, if you ask me. The BIA, we submitted it to them here, right here on the spot. If you guys recall, some of the senior senators, we gave Superintendent Deanna Stewart the probate code, and so we submitted it. Well, we weren't told it was rejected, and upon its rejection, we don't know why it was rejected, what pieces didn't go, and I think that was wrong. I think there was a breach of trust there. I think there should have been some consultation. It's a violation of consultation policy, and I think we should, the proper judicial branch or whoever, or judicial committee here need to be consulted, and we just found that out.
Alright, nice, Eric.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Secretary, tayo did, CJ did, release kung medyo and I think we need to inquire why it was rejected and what we need to change and move forward on that too. And so maybe we need to bring that up in the form of a letter or maybe we can do that. Oh.
I have a question on that. Jay, maybe you can answer that, is once we pass a law here and it's signed by the executive, because the late chairman, Corvan did sign that into law, I remember. And then the feds rejected like that. Where do we go from there? I mean, do we have to rescind that law since the federal government rejected it and redraft a new one, or can we amend it, or what process do we think go forward from here? Do we have to rescind that one and bring up a new one?
Mr. Speaker, members of the body, secretary, we don't have documentation that indicates it was ever submitted to the Secretary of the Interior, and our best understanding is that these have to go to Washington, D.C. There is no delegation to the regional or local superintendent for review of tribal probate codes. Under the American Indian Probate Reform Act, we know that if the executive did submit it, this is a bill that was passed back in 2006. So we're talking about 2 administrations ago. If they did submit it, the American Indian Probate Reform Act does give a period of time, 6 months, in which the secretary has to either approve or disapprove. And Senator Stewart, if there's a disapproval, there's a consultation and a communication as to what didn't suffice, why it was disapproved. Now, if there's no response, it's deemed approved to the extent it's consistent with APRA 2004 Probate Reform Act. My best shot on this one is that it is law, the 06 code, to the extent it doesn't address trust property. It repeals the Title II of Law and Order Code, which was our old probate code from the early 90s. So it would be my opinion that the 06 code is law to the extent it addresses fee land in non-trust personal property, like a vehicle, for example, or a rifle, but not IIM accounts and not trust land. Those are the key types of property that would have to have a secretarial review. So I guess the short answer would be, best thing would be to get with the executive, sit down, fully communicate what the issues were, if it was submitted to the feds, if it was rejected. If not, we have an understanding that this was, to some degree, cut and paste from Colville. Theirs was rejected, so there was a fear that ours would meet a similar fate. So best thing would be for a new bill to be introduced, and then we can iron out any of the issues. And then I think all the senators would probably want a fresh look at it and make some policy decisions as to which way to go. But best case scenario would just, I think, have new legislation and take the 06 legislation that was passed and tailor it to whatever administration or legislature feels is in the best interest of the tribe. But it's a big question mark right now what the status was in the 06 code, if it was ever submitted. If so, what kind of reception it got in Washington.
Thank you.
đây là cũng cái tại vì nó health human for health codes need to start moving on health codes in the health committee. Laws, leads in the future, like it is true. Like no health codes because it's so raw. After hele nikya gimpudik so like James Boswell more quick to feel like so even if you don't always this day they must see that women today very quick when you can
Now, this, now your Homeland Security, they wanna start the UI task force. They need some laws, especially with seatbelt insurance, hey, so that's still on the table right there, talking about that. And, let's see, since, like I know, casino gaming, Saija, it's under, economic development, and I've been, pretty busy with that also. So Iwalaha big for Laga gaming Saija possible sites too. We do big billings last month today. They like group Raja Milk from Buffalo, New York, and Ishpala from family group. And they want to help us try to locate a place to build a casino. We looked at 2 possible sites, Golaga, plus 3 possible sites. We checked on it, and I think they want to help us build a ranch. That was their first eye-touching for now. So you could na casino Saija na casino wall is cupola liog da chia mayushio, and that's what they're trying to put a stop to that because chia wajicha hum like everything like under the Shakopee and look out they cannot sponsor anything unless it pertains to gaming. And one question that came up is, does that the native days beside that, you every casino that they sponsor that, is there money that we pass through law, especially budget kira? Is there a line item for that? To help the, does the executive side pay for that, Ultimate Warrior, Mr.
Streeter,
Can I speak? Senator goes ahead.
Secretary, members of the body. Again, budget kada, co-sphere budget kada, COLA, then we budget, one for native days. So there's 2 separate budgets, and the budget kada for, in the past, I know casino always, sponsored the Ultimate Warrior, and then they always fight over the dollar, who's gonna run it, who's gonna make the concessions. And I know the executive branch always try to get the concessions, so there's been a fight between the 2 over the concessions. And then casino, they have money. Then they sponsor quite a bit, and their return is like concessions, gate money. And so it depends on who has the money. If casino has the money, if not, then the executive branch takes over. So at this time, I know that they got to look back in the budget and see how much they appropriated for 2014. Need to take clinical, I do, bunch of clinical.
So you guys go, we might be breaking that contract with Shopify because they're not supposed to sponsor anything like that. It has to pertain to gaming. And that was one of the questions they asked. You know, I guess the city, they're having them get ready for native days and, was upset, when I met with the ACE board, and I met with the commission, along with the general manager, finance personnel, we spoke with them all at once, when it was almost got chaotic, because ACE board, they're traveling, they're already looking into phase two. Phase two is not even there yet. Like when commissioners, they don't know what kind of job they're supposed to do. Like when the vendor contracts, commissioners, they gotta be on top of it, and they're not. So in I'll explain, we don't. Cook, they're making money, what's happening is now, machines, we're paying too much to the vendor in that contract. It's either like 80-20, and it's supposed to be the other way around. Casino should be getting 80, vendor should be getting 20. But that's some numbers all. Every time they do an audit, you have cake. They'll have enough money in a cage for that night. When the numbers come out for the machines, they end up paying more into the contracts to the vendors. And what they say is last year in contracts, they let the executive legal go through it. Last year, May, they made it too late. So it's almost been a year on that, and they were making close to about 60 to about 40,000 a month. You can ace, they even got their own person to do their feasibility study. And the executive couldn't always. So and they're doing that study over here along with these other sites. So Wazaba said there's authority, they don't have I had to kind of tell them, kind of direct them. This is what you're supposed to do, this on top of that, I got commissioners, in our law, we're supposed to pick each one of them from each district. And that time passed for the chairman to choose. Here, Beelan, it was our time ran out too to pick a commissioner. So that's all like the command off stage. So I'm gonna have to ask Jay on that. You commissioners, so I don't know what the law says on that. So each district has to pick a commissioner. So you could ask, because commissioners, they're important. Commissioners, they're supposed to be there checking on those machines. And they were pointing their fingers at commissioners every time. My executive, and they're supposed to be checking him. ACE board, they have temporary license, gaming license, temporary. And Hawaii is that they don't got a license. And oh man, I was asking, we were supposed to meet last Thursday. Won't age. We need to get some of these laws and give it to them so that at least they'll know. Because he canceled football on that last meeting because commissioners could have violated by law. So you could ask, investors could be looking at this casino before they even help us out with this great big mega casino we're talking about. So you could the main issue is Nabala. Now we gotta make a law to where do we send the money percentages because IRS and Yivishtil, they Shakopilo Bridge and Yivishtil. But going on top of that, another Bighorn casino, the old one, they're still gonna try to build this casino. Executive was supposed to take it over last week. Today, Carla she gave those old bills back to the casino. So you could So, yeah, and Jets Graham, Sheva, and that A Sport too. They wanna try to go ahead and go with phase two. Going with who we got stopped on. They're not licensed, could just suit the ones that are making these decisions. And Wazab said, it's a mess up there making money. But we'll chichu goes. So I think that's about it as far as the casino goes. Go ahead, Duke.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. I think if they're not certified or licensed, that they can't move forward. You know, I look at it that way, somebody has to make that decision. And, you know, I think we should send them our legal opinion, Jay. We need to send a legal opinion to them and then sort this out for them. You know, where they need direction and they're fighting over who has authority and who doesn't. So I think we gotta straighten this out and move forward in the casino.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I am going to call for a motion to recess until tomorrow at 10. It's a little bit cheap, but that will get started. So, Eric,
I'll make that motion.
motion to recess, need a second by Paul. All in favor, say aye. Okay, we are now in recess till tomorrow.
Hey, we have an executive session for break.